love of Halloween, love of the October country, that weird time where it's always October-y, spooky, eerie fun.
Working with Christopher Cooksey on this project has been, for both of us, an almost religious experience.
So I didn't want this to look like anything else. I wanted to make this look like Ray's words come to life. To stay away from things like green screen as much as possible, although we did use some. But for A Sound of Thunder, for instance, I used forced perspective and a backlit painted background.
And I said, Christopher, look, let me just go to the silent version of The Lost World. I'll pull some jungle stills, throw up the jungle stills, and it's fine, man. You just have these rotating stills of the jungle, these shots I can pull from The Lost World. And he said, no, Bill, I'm going to build a tabletop jungle.
Which I think turned out really well. It was later enhanced in the computer.
Ray Harryhausen, Ray Bradbury, you were smiling upon this boy.
Here it is, the night of shooting. I'm pulling out almost every stop. There's more that I want to do is my wife's bamboo plant for a little foreground shot, which is how it looks through there. And we've got all sorts of lighting. We've got this kind of warm halogen and all these day balance bulbs with these LEDs. And they are shined right up against a line painting that's painted on the back of that white sheet. So all that light translates into this stuff back here. And then placed are these thinner branches, and then in the middle ground are thicker, and then in the foreground are even thicker branches, creating a forced perspective shot.
About the Dark Carnival, I must say, oh my God. Again, I told Christopher, look, don't go to a lot of trouble for this. It's fine.
I am shooting assets for Bill's play, and this is for a scene with essentially there's going to be kind of a ruined carnival. It's going to embody several aspects of Bill's vision, of Ray's vision. You can see this, burnt out wood, weeds, desolation, cracking environment. I'm going to be photographing this and incorporating it in with Dave Graves' Ferris wheel build. We're also going to be adding some broken down walls. One of them is going to have Hiroshima silhouettes of children catching a ball, referencing There Will Come Soft Rains, a Ray Bradbury short story from the Martian Chronicles. So it is November 24th, Saturday, and we're on our way to Dave Graves' house. Dave Graves built the original Ferris wheel for another Ray Bradbury production, which he never signed away the rights to, so we're using it in this one. But this Ferris wheel was built specifically for Ray, and I'm glad to be shooting it again today. It's going to be used in our production, or Bill Oberst Jr.'s production. So he looking forward to this. It's going to be a fun time. Okay, so we are at, again, like I said before, Dave Graves' house, and we're shooting this Ferris wheel. Now, the setup here doesn't look like much, but it doesn't need to be much, because we have this miniature, if you come in close on it. It's the Wheel of Destiny. This was built specially for Ray by Dave.
But they had worked with Ray on it before he died, and Ray loved that Ferris wheel. So I knew the Ferris wheel was coming, but then when I saw the whole environment and the little booths, lost children, I was not prepared for this. It blew me away, the desolation of that landscape. And it comes right at this moment when Ray is at an emotional high, dancing with his wife, and suddenly, boom, it's all gone. And here we are.
On its own, Black Ferris becomes a carousel in Something Wicked This Way Comes. It's just a nice emblem, a logo of all things Ray. You know, his love of carnivals, of fairs, the imagery it portrays. They're fun. They're kind of bizarre. We named this one the Wheel of Destiny because, well, winking devil, the matters of chance, life, the strange twists life throws, can show to you, and that's all Ray. Gotta love the man. He had a finger on the carny pulse, so to speak.
For what I couldn't build in miniature, I still wanted to try and do as practically as possible. So the next thing was to go to locations where I could take photographs of things. I took a trip out to Sedona, Arizona, which looks like Ray Bradbury's Mars come to life with beautiful red rocks. I then took those pictures and composited them together in Photoshop to make things like caves and Martian landscapes. Val Merrick, who created the poster for the play, came in and created cave paintings, which I incorporated into the Martian cave that's at the opening of the play.
And I was absolutely blown away by the combination of his camera movements, the cave environment, the butterfly, Val's paintings.
The biggest challenge was taking Ray's words and bringing them to life visually in an animated way that Bill could interact with on stage.
My idea was just to have what Ray was talking about flashed on the screen for reinforcement, because I think very linearly and I think very rudimentarily when it comes to visuals. I'm not good at it. And Christopher said, no, we need to illustrate sometimes in harmony with what Ray's saying, but sometimes in counterpoint with what he's saying. We need to illustrate what's in Ray's mind, as you're saying, his words. So then the screen and the visuals become another character, and they don't have to always be saying what Ray's saying. They could be saying what's going on in the back of his mind. Just as I'm speaking to you now, I have another conversation going on in the back of my mind. So the visuals were originally intended to reinforce what Ray was saying, but instead they became another voice.
It's a one-man show, but it's almost as if Bill and what's going on the screen are two characters who are constantly interacting. We had to make sure that the timing was just right and all the metaphors were placed just in the right places to complement the script and Bill's performance. That all came down to finishing up everything that we had photographed or filmed with visual effects within the computer and editing it together. We also got Chris Young, who brought Greentown to life through his digital illustrations.
working with Christopher Cooksey on this project has been, for both of us, an almost religious experience. And people who are really into sci-fi or fantasy or a particular author like we're into Ray will understand that. But Christopher took the tenets of that religion, if you will, of Ray's ideas about the world, and wrote a book of worship, a visual book of worship. The people who come to see this show are leaving, and I already know this from the performances we've done, they're leaving feeling more hopeful, more optimistic, and they feel that more is possible. They feel that we can imagine the future. Ray believed that. I believe that. Christopher believed that. And God love him. He was able, Christopher, to put these ideas on the screen in a way that people who see the show will remember, I think, long after they have forgotten my portrayal of Ray. The Brian Lee's score and Christopher's visuals are the perfect complements to Ray Bradbury's words. And I'm just happy to be there. Really happy to be there.
I love his stuff. Like I say, it's Ray Bradbury. The books speak for themselves. His work lives on because of him.